The first time I saw her, she was standing on a cargo crate so she could reach the public terminal. The station was loud that day. Traders shouted over one another. Engines hummed through the metal floors. The air smelled like ozone and spice. In the middle of it all stood a woman who barely reached my chest, even while elevated on a crate. She noticed me staring and quickly stepped down. On most species, that motion would have made them look smaller. On her, it made her look proud. She folded her 4 fingers behind her back and tilted her chin up as if daring the universe to laugh. I did not laugh. She was about 4 feet tall. Her skin held a faint violet sheen that caught the station lights. Silver markings traced along her temples and down her neck. Her eyes were large and bright amber, alert and careful at the same time. "I was not standing on that," she said in clear trade common. "Of course not," I replied. "That crate was clearly standing under you." Her lips pressed together. Then she let out a quiet breath that might have been a laugh. That was the first time I heard it. "My name is Daniel Reyes, human cargo technician. I grew up short by human standards. I stopped growing at 5'4". On Earth, that meant jokes. On the colonies, it meant being overlooked. On a mixed species station, it meant very little. But I understood the look in her eyes. It was the look of someone who expected rejection before it even arrived. She introduced herself as Lyra of the Vesh Collective. The Vesh were new to our sector. Most people knew them from trade reports and rumors. Efficient engineers, brilliant mathematicians, small dot, very small. Over the next few weeks, we kept crossing paths. The station was big, but not big enough to avoid coincidence. When 2 people worked near docking ring 3, I would see her carrying tools that seemed too heavy for her size. She would see me climbing inside maintenance, shafts that most larger species could not fit into. One evening, the gravity stabilizers in ring 3 malfunctioned. The floor lurched. Crates slid. A Talon merchant roared in panic as his stacked containers tipped. Lyra did not scream. She moved. She darted under a sliding cart and reached up into the exposed maintenance panel. Her fingers moved faster than I could track. Sparks flashed. The shaking slowed. I grabbed a falling crate before it crushed her. When the gravity normalized, we found ourselves standing close. Closer than before. My hands still held the crate. Her hand still rested inside the open panel. "You should have evacuated," I said. "So should you," she answered. We both stepped back at the same time after that. We started sharing meals. There was a small food stall near the observation deck. It sold human noodles and Vesh nutrient cakes. Neither of us liked the other's food much, but we pretended to. One night, as ships drifted past the transparent dome, Lyra grew quiet. In Vesh culture, she began, height signals, resilience. Our homeworld has strong winds. The taller you grow, the more stable your root structures are. Taller individuals are seen as preferable. I leaned back in my chair. Preferable, how? For partnership, I nodded slowly. Humans have something like that too. Taller is often seen as stronger, more desirable. She stared at her hands. I assumed humans would feel the same, that shorter is less desirable. She gave a small nod. I laughed, not at her, just at the strange symmetry of the universe. "Lyra, I am considered short for a human." Her head snapped up. "You are average. On some colonies, maybe. On Earth, I was the one people missed in group photos." She studied me carefully, as if recalculating something important. I thought, she said softly, that you would not like me. Because I am small. I like that you rewired a gravity stabilizer while it was trying to shake us into paste. Her lips curved. I like that you stand on crates instead of asking for help. She made a soft sound that time. A real laugh. And I added, that you look people in the eye, no matter how tall they are. She looked away then. Not from shame. From emotion. The rumor mill on the station moved fast. A human and a Vesh spending time together was enough to spark curiosity. A short human and a very short alien woman was enough to spark jokes. One afternoon, a group of dock workers made a comment as we passed. "Careful, Reyes," one of them called. "You might lose her in a stiff breeze." Lyra stiffened. I felt it in the way her steps slowed. I stopped walking. I turned to the dock worker and smiled. "She stabilized your docking clamps last week," I said. "If a breeze takes her, your ship is next." The other workers laughed. Not at her. At him, we walked on. "Thank you," she said quietly. "You do not need defending." "I know," she replied. But it was appreciated. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. I learned that Vesh architecture favored low ceilings and narrow corridors. She learned that human music favored heavy bass that made her wince at first. She told me about the winds of her homeworld, how children there learned to lean into storms instead of hiding from them. I told her about earth, rain, and how it could fall for days without tearing buildings apart. One cycle. She invited me to a Vesh cultural gathering on the station. I had to stoop to enter the rented hall. Inside, everything was scaled for her people. Tables were low. Lights were soft and warm. The air carried a floral scent. I felt enormous dock conversations paused when I entered. Amber eyes assessed me, not hostile, just curious. Lyra stood beside me, not behind, not hidden. She spoke in her native tongue first. I did not understand the words, but I understood the tone, calm, confident. Then she switched to trade common. "This is Daniel. He is human. He is my chosen partner." There was a murmur. An elder Vesh approached, taller than Lyra by several inches, which seemed significant among her kind. "You choose someone taller," the elder observed. Lyra glanced at me, then back at the elder. "Yes," she said. "And shorter." The elder blinked. Lyra continued. "On Vesh, we value height because it resists the wind. But wind is not the only force in the universe. Some storms are prejudice. Some are fear. Daniel resists those." Silence followed. Then the elder inclined their head. "Resilience takes many forms." The tension eased. Later that night, as we walked back toward Ring 3, Lyra slipped her hand into mine. "I was afraid," she admitted, "that you would see me as fragile." I squeezed her hand gently. "You rewired a gravity stabilizer mid-quake. You faced down dock workers twice your mass. You stood before your elders without flinching. Fragile is not the word." She looked up at me, amber eyes bright in the corridor light. "And you," she said, "were never too proud to stand beside someone smaller." I smiled. "Height is a matter of perspective." She stopped walking and turned to face me fully. "Daniel Reyes," she said, voice steady. "On my world the winds shape mountains over centuries. They wear down what stands rigid. They leave what bends and holds. I think humans are like that. Stubborn, resilient. I considered that. Maybe that is why we get along, I said. Two species who know what it means to be underestimated. She stepped closer. I do not feel underestimated, she said softly. Not when I am with you. The station lights flickered as a ship entered docking sequence. A distant hum rolled through the metal walls dot around us. Beings of 100 shapes and sizes moved with purpose. Tall, short, wide, slender in that endless mix of forms. Our difference seemed small. She had thought I would not like her because of her height. She had been wrong. Humans have a reputation in the galaxy. We endure, we adapt. We pack bond with anything that shows courage and heart. Lyra had both. If the universe wanted to measure strength in meters, it could try. I would measure it in storms, survived. And beside me stood a woman who had faced more than her share. Chin lifted, unbowed. Height had nothing to do with it. Asterisk.